the difference between Australian Samoans, New Zealand Samoans, and American Samoans, and the Samoans back home.
We are one.
Let's create some segregation, guys. Some separatism.
Hey, just a moment. When you say Samoan and Samoa, which one?
All of them. And Kuila and Upolu.
So
I know
the Samoan in Manua is different from
yeah,
the Samoan in Upolu and Savai'i.
Yes.
So they have totally different thinking.
Yeah.
And the Samoan in Savai'i is completely different to the city. The city half caste who goes to Robert Louis Stevenson. Yeah, they're different, man.
Yeah, and the Samoans in the South Island are a lot different than the Samoans in the North Island.
Yes, and the Samoans in Central Auckland, oh my goodness.
So what, just
Team Jacinda, baby.
placement where they live, accent.
Nah, I would say in a general sense, because I know for a fact if you come back as a New Zealander Samoan, and wherever you end up in Samoa, you're seen as a Palangi or plastic Samoan. Is that not a fact?
Well, if you go back to Samoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go back to Samoa, it doesn't matter if you're Australian, American, or New Zealand. You fucking eat ass until you prove yourself. So if you
How do you do that?
If you speak fluent Samoan, it's the first entry.
I'm 30% there.
Entry into acceptance. As soon as they know you can't speak Samoan, Palangi. They always have that slide comment, you know, because it's some sort of power they have. You know, because a lot of people come overseas, especially the Australians, and they got money, bro. They got money, and you're going into the village
so here's a more
with people who don't have money.
Here's a more interesting conversation then. What are those three, the Western Samoans, as in Australia, New Zealand, America, how are they received when they go back to the motherland? Is there a difference? Because you just said the Australians, especially the Australians, because they definitely got a lot more money than us.
Yeah, they got a lot more money.
What are the American Samoans like? Excluding
Wait. Who's the most eat-ass?
Bro, I think New Zealanders.
Why?
I think New Zealanders.
So you're saying that the New Zealand Samoans need to be humbled?
Yes, exactly that. But I think just from proximity of where they're at, I've kind of learned to respect this of the Samoans that are born and raised in Australia. So they're kind of like their offspring to their parents were brought up in New Zealand.
For the New Zealand parents.
How do I know? Because my dad brought over 90% of his siblings and uncles and aunties that all migrated to Australia. But I've kind of learned to kind of respect them because they've adapted to that Australian economy, and now they're a lot more outspoken, which means they're a lot more vocal about like their worth in their places. Where in New Zealand, we kind of have this whole thing that a lot of our parents gave us, which was this gratefulness. You're in a land of milk and honey. Just be happy that you're here. So we've adapted to that. And then I kind of feel the same with the Samoans in America, where they've just adapted to the American culture by proximity to Black Americans, Mexicans, especially in the western part of the States. Like they take that attitude because that's their kind of, you know, but they're still out and out proud Pacific people. It's just the New Zealand ones, I just fuck.
That's us, bro. Be careful.
Of course. We are
about us nicely, guys.
Yeah, hypersensitive, eh?
Who's that? Us?
Yeah.
Of course.
Ooh, hypersensitive? Nah, I still think New Zealand are a very talented bunch of Samoans here, man.
I mean, you can be both. You can be hypersensitive and talented. You're just hypersensitive.
What does that mean, Tama? What does that mean? Like, to me, hypersensitive is a bad thing. It means that you're so fucking offended by shit.
But also over reliance.
Bro, look how much drama happens on TikTok that is just from the Samoans in here, not in Australia or in America. It's always the ones here that are fighting each other online.
It's the fighters. It's the fighters over here, is it?
We've got the toughest fighters, for sure.
Oh, it's a generation born from Dawn Raids and the Panthers. And
actually, I want to take that back. Jucze is the actual world champion here, and Joseph Parkers.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the local Samoans in Samoa kind of look down on us. It's because they got TV, they got our news here. So that's why New Zealand news is closer to Samoa. So when they see it, they go, another Samoan locked up, and they get information. They get news from here, and it's always about Pacific people negativity, and it's been exposed in Samoa. So that's why they just say, just another criminal. That's why the island getting more news in New Zealand than in Australia. If you get what I mean. And we're talking about like 30 years ago, when there's no internet, and that's the attitude they carry on. But there's another thing about us New Zealanders. I mean, I don't know where Taurupapi syndrome, where did that come from? How did that come to effect that we started using it to weaponize our own people?
Yeah, because that's also
an attitude,
Yeah.
And how did that happen? I mean, is it from the dawn way that we started creating that to try and put into our defense system? I don't know.
Man, to be honest, I don't even know what that is, bro. Taurupapi syndrome here. I just get shit done, bro. Fuck it. But one thing they have in Samoa, man, everything's Samoan. The banks are owned by Samoans, the lawyers are Samoans, the judges are Samoans, everything's Samoan. So that's why you get a lot of confident people in Samoa. They're very confident. You see dudes who come over here, no English, picking up girls. Like white girls as well. But like, bro, they're confident as shit.
I mean, I'd expect that.
Yeah,
I'd expect that from. Because you
know who you are.
Yeah, because that's your motherland.
Your identity. Once you sorted out your identity, that's the most important thing in life.
But
man.
I feel like the American Samoans are like that.
Know who they are?
Yeah, because they probably borrow that American attitude of confidence.
They're very confident people. I mean,
and then they go, we're Samoan too.
And you're
on top
so
of
right.
that.
Proximity. And Americans are so bloody confident.
Yeah.
I feel like Australians as a people are so confident.
Yep.
And so it's a proximity of who you have around.
That's why we eat us,
And
bro.
but we are always in the fight here. We are amongst Balangis who are always doing their shit, and we are always and we're around Māori who are fighting back.
Yep.
Like that's just proximity.
Are we just more cloak and dagger?
Meaning,
Ooh.
Like as in
Deceptive?
Yeah, deceptive in the way like we have to move differently in front of different people.
A lot more differently than the other.
Like say, we got to move differently with Māori than we do with Palangi. Like we've got a few multiple issues
codes
here, and codes to abide by here, because we're such a small country. Like
that's interesting.
And it's when they say multicultural or multi-ethnic, I just think we all move differently depending on who we're associating with. Or is that just me?
No. Because now you've got communities in England and Europe that are full of Pacific people, Tongan and Samoan. And, it was always weird when I watched that. I remember it was like 2010 when Manu Tuilangi made the English team, when he had the interview and he had that real English accent, and I was like, but then there was also Toby Faletau as well, and it was like, that's so weird, but they've adapted, they live there, they're Welsh, Tongan, English, Tongan, so it's like they've just adapted to what's that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we sound super weird to the Americans, so.
Yeah. But I feel like they're a lot more accepting of things like of Palangis. I feel like a lot of that group that's growing up over there, maybe here as well. I don't know.
In Australia?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you saying in Australia or
in Australia?
Oh, you're referring to Europe.
Proximity, though. I mean, in America, they're hyper confident because of the American culture is confident. They're loud. They also got a lot of anti-blackness.
True.
Because of the proximity to the white oppressor. Like, you don't have sense of self, you're going to inherit the characteristics of your fucking oppressor. And so they have a lot of anti-blackness, while at the same time there's a massive Samoan black community.
There is,
it's huge. I feel like we are different. It's hard to explain, but I feel like I can tell, that's an American Samoan. And you can tell the New Zealand ones are a bit more reserved. I feel like it's reserved, not cloak and dagger, because that sounds a bit deceptive. But I just feel like we're deeper.
Too humble.
Yeah, but I feel like we sort of like are this. We're like the dude. If there was a room with 4 of us, a dude from Australia or woman.
The Kiwi's the quietest, bro.
The Kiwi's the one standing at the back like this.
Observant.
This is the New Zealand Samoan just waiting to mock someone or waiting to attack someone. Like,
isn't that deceptive?
A fucking predator. And he's looking at the other 4 like they're prey.
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. It's just like, okay, when you're confronted by one of them, what are you going to do? You're going to either, entertain it or you're going to ghost. And that's, I mean, do I want to generalize? But that's pretty common here. Meet someone new and you ghost them.
It's massive here.
Yeah, exactly. Like Cloak and Dagger.
Bro, I'll call you in. Yeah, sure.
Yo, let's catch up and then don't hear from them in weeks.
Yeah, I feel like,
Whereas culturally elsewhere...
Nah, Australians about it though. It's like, see you on Sunday?
Yeah,
Sunday's on.
Yeah, I feel like if there was a room of a New Zealand Samoan, American Samoan, Australian Samoan, and a local Samoan, is that the New Zealand one would be there like this in the back. The American and the Australian would be like, yeah, what's up? Would be loud in that. And then the Samoan from Samoa will walk in and we'll have the aura.
Nose to the ceiling.
Yeah, we'll walk in and then the other 3 will go, oh shit, it's a real one. It's the it's the authentic, the real dude, the real Samoans.
It's the one of one.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I loved living in Samoa is that no one could tell me shit because I lived in Samoa. That's all the validation you need. So I could speak my shit. I could do videos because I was in Samoa. Once you lose that, then it's like, part of this diaspora shit. Fuck. The theoretical side of being Samoan shit.
I'll pick up your Cloak and Dagger on your way out.
Further.
You have the hoodie. That's us, bro. That's what I reckon the New Zealand Samoan is.
See that look right there? That look that you're giving right there?
I feel like the New Zealand Samoan's the fighter, bro. Is the deep one who's just looking for it as well.
I was down and out.
Looking for that shot, bro.
Struggling. Wondering how.
You know what? It kind of makes sense because we get the comment, about people going, how come us 3 is in the dark? It shows we don't want light in our in our face, but it's more like I prefer behind the scenes. That kind of.
But that's attitude. Our culture, eh? Like anyone who's loud or out there, we always say, "Oh, what a eat us."
Yeah.
What a fucking eat us.
Cloak and Dagger.
That's that fucking.
Is that tall poppy
that you're saying? We always say it, and like I always tell everyone, this story is like when I went to England. Oh, bro, you played well. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought I did too. But when I compliment like my own teammates here in New Zealand, bro, you played awesome.
Oh, nah, full credit to the boys.
Nah. Like
they do these ones.
Yeah, that's like New Zealand, man. It's just, but I feel like we're good at shit. Like when I compare how we dance in the haka to how Americans do it, like we all have a laugh at the way they do it, right? We always like
the cultural mechanics.
Yeah.
I'll throw the kind of separatism debate out of it, but the coolest thing is, and you talked about it before, but the unifying factor is the language. Because when I met with my American family, as soon as they start speaking Samoan, it's like, oh, you're just like my mum. The same with my Australian family and the New Zealand one, like irrespective of whether they're from Christchurch or wherever, as soon as they start speaking Samoan, you're like, there it is.
That's the key to identity, and I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, you don't have to speak Samoan to be Samoan, but I'm telling you, bro, if you know to speak your Samoan well, no one can question anything about you.